Hello, everyone. Hello. How are we doing on this Friday? Welcome to another episode of Inside Fnatic's Brush. I am your host, Matt Scott, as per usual. Thank you for joining me again as we review week one of the LEC Spring Split Edition, year 2024. And already within the first week, we've had some interesting results within the LEC, with some expected, some not so expected, and some that went against what we predicted. And we'll have a look at all of this on our next topic and at the end as well, as we'll review our predictions results. Fnatic, as usual, will go over their first free game of the split, how they've been playing, some of the issues they've been facing. If you've watched today's episode of Legends in Action, we'll talk about some of the elements that were mentioned during that episode. We come back with our segment of The Focus, talking about Oscarnin's first few games after his complicated playoffs season in winter, and of course our predictions to wrap it all up. Again, thank you for joining me, guys. Let's jump right into it with our LEC overview. Looking at the standings, we have G2 standing at the sole position of 3-0, even though it was very close against Carmine Corp. They just happen to have a little dragon called Smolder, which saves your ass, whatever you do, at any moment. Oh, what an amazing champion you've got here for us, Riot Games. You've truly hit it on the nail and struck gold. This champion is already an abomination, where once you hit the 225 stacks threshold, you just go on to win the game by default. Good freaking job. So G2, 3-0 thanks to the Dragon. Other team that's doing quite well right now is Team Heretics. They've had some noticeable changes with Zwiru and Trimby coming in, and it seems that the honeymoon period is going well with a 2-1 start. Again, versus Fnatic, bit of a same situation where they got completely obliterated in the early game. Mid-game, Fnatic makes some mistakes, allows Smolder to come back in and to completely dominate and take over the map and give them the win. It could have been a 1-2 for Heretics, it could have been a 3-0 for Fnatic, but it didn't happen to be that way. So that's that. Smolder is a champion, and even with the nerfs coming in, it doesn't feel like anything's gonna happen, because Smolder is a bit of a different ADC. He's really a full-on caster without needing really to weave in auto attacks. And once he's fully stacked, well, not fully stacked, once he's reached his threshold stack of 225, he just presses Q and just deals damage to everyone in the line. So he even defeats the concept of front to back, because when he hits the front, he hits the back as well because of the little AoE splash effect on his Q. Add on to that the execute mechanism that he has built into his kit, and the fact that he can ult AoE on a large area and heal himself at the same time, and peel for himself with his little flap ability. Then you get a champion that has so much room once he gets to the necessary stack levels to just do whatever the hell he wants. Play around him, draft around him with a good front line, engage tanks, a little bit of Rel here, a little bit of Nautilus, a little bit of Sejuani, and you're Gucci, baby. You're Gucci to run. And he's been saving a lot of asses this week already, and with a pentakill again for G2 on their first game. So, you know, what else do you need? 25 pentakills for a single champion. That's healthy. That's healthy. In pro play since his release, 25 pentakills. Sure. I can't even think of a champion that, first of all, within its initial release onto the pro patch, we'll call it like that, onto the patch that it's used in competitive play, is already hitting pentakills. But at that frequency, give me a friggin' break. But with that said, other teams that we weren't expected to be at the bottom, we have Mad Lions and Team BDS, who ended this season at second and third place, if I'm not mistaken. Not the season, the previous split. Excuse me about that. Sorry. But complicated start. I mean, both of them have been quite underwhelming. Mad Lions don't feel like they have that sort of synergy and mechanics that they used to have that would help them really get through complicated games. BDS look completely in shambles ever since the sort of Adam removal in winter playoffs. I don't know if there's some, how would I call this? Some residue from that sense, in terms of team atmosphere, but it's very, I would call, unbecoming of Mad Lions, Koi, and BDS to start like this. But we'll see how they evolve. Those are teams that are able to bounce back, especially with the type of coach that they have. Not necessarily coaches that are happy with losses, but who will be very severe in the way they conduct themselves with their players. So, let's see how they bounce back. I personally think Mad Lions, out of the both teams, Mad Lions is the team that will probably have the better return to form, but we will see. We will see how that pans out. The last element before we move on to Fnatic is Rogue. Rogue, bringing in Finn into roster. Nothing really new. A team that drastically and critically lacks identity. They don't know how to play the game. Even Larson doesn't look like Larson. That's been some time that this mid laner, who used to be so good for the team, is just struggling, even in lane, and has not brought anything to the table. So, is Rogue gonna be doing a white split, which means 0 wins? It looks like it. It looks like it because, Team Heretics was one of the teams maybe they could have gone for, but they seem to be in better form right now. Vitality as well has seemed to pick up pace with one game of Hylissang going completely undefeated. Well, not undefeated, but with 0 deathless. That's the term I was looking for. Thank you very much. And Giant X already with 1 win, with a underwhelming Jackies, but at least they're trying. And I think if Carmine Corp continue what looks to be slightly better form, even though Targamas is still a criminal in my eyes, and it's probably getting paid by opponents to ain't that much, because if he does it voluntarily, then that is some next level of charity from the guys. So he should consider monetizing his ints, because he can make a lot of money from it. But I won't say more about the standings. You guys let me know what you're expecting from the first few games. Let me know in the comments. Let me know whatever you're watching from on Reddit, on the Fnatic app, on YouTube. I'd be very interested to hear what you have to say. But moving on, our dear Fnatic with a 2-1 start to the split, I want to say not too bad. 2-1 is a very good score to start with, but to be honest, we're starting with, on paper, our rather weak team if we look at what was accomplished in Winter Split. Rogue and K-Corp, some of the bottom, Rogue, K-Corp, Team Heretics, bottom 3 teams here. So, in an ideal world, it should have been a 3-0. The Rogue game was rather clean with an early game, a bit quiet, good emphasis on the bot lane and understanding where the strength of the draft was lying. Definitely in our bot lane duo with good advantages given on there, with a good smolder ban as well, which opened a Zeri pick for Noah, who got a beautiful solo kill on there. So good job, very good work as well between Razork and June on helping out the mid lane and giving Humanoid some early advantages. A little bit of a fumble around the tier 2 top lane, sort of I don't want to say dive, but aggression, where we got caught with Finn coming in with the Udyr in the flank and the Hui AoE combo. And it's a bit of a recurring theme across the game. Not only that we get caught in those sort of side lanes tier 2, but we're not really respecting the enemy composition. Despite that blunder, very good game towards the end, where we closed it with our gold advantage, and I think it was roughly a 30-minute game. I'll have a quick look here. I had the game under my eyes. Let me see. Yeah, 31st 7, so it was a 30-minute game. The K-Corp game, actually the 3 games in general were a bit of a copy-paste in terms of how it was executed. Good early game, mid-game fumbles, and then coming back into the late game to win it all. K-Corp, same thing with, I believe, was a 5-0 lead to start with. And no, sorry, that was the Team Heretics game. 2-0 lead, then a little bit of mistakes here and there. We win one big team fight, then we tried to siege the tier 2 bot lane tower, and we don't respect the Aurelion Soul pick, where Aurelion Soul is just waiting for opponents to stack and bundle up so he can put his little gravity well in the middle and blow his galactic breath on you and chase you very, very easily. That on top with the ult stun and so on and so forth. So that mistake cost the Baron, which made the game even. And we got lucky that we were facing KC. That is a team that's still struggling. We had a good game from Oscar, who had a complicated laning phase because he's going as Aatrox into Renekton, but who bounced very well during the team fights, especially the team fight around the 4th Drake, where it was very close. Noah gets caught by the Aurelion Soul and gets destroyed, and Humanoid and Oscarinen managed to clean up the team fight and not make it an even more complicated situation. Second Baron fight goes in. The boys play it well in the sense that they burst down the final 1000 HPs of the Baron. Good team fight to end with a good ultimate on Kai'Sa from Noah, who repositions completely with a perfect engage from Razork onto 3-4 people. K-Corp get annihilated, and the game is ended. Team Heretics, same format. This time, Team Heretics has Smolder to play with, and it becomes a whole different issue. And that's the problem, is that some of the mid-game issues that we were facing already in winter are creeping back into this split now. As many people mention it, it's good that we lose now. In the Team Heretics game where we have a 5k gold lead advantage. We don't know how to play the mid game because we usually play towards bot lane, and this time we put the focus on top lane, where Oscar played this lane really well and allowed Razork to dive twice onto Wunder and really put him behind and give Oscar a 2k gold lead on his opponent laner. And what happened is that, again, contest area, we shouldn't be contesting. We don't play our tempos correctly. We allow Smolder to come in. We also, in my opinion, feels like we don't really respect the picks of our opponent. And that's it. Looking at the Nico, which feels like massive pick right now, seeing how it's being played currently. And that's an element you're looking at. You're like, potentially it would be nice for Humanoid to get on this pick. I'm sure he has the capacity to play this champion, but it's about playing that champion efficiently. So is that the advantage that this champion brings of sort of bamboozling your opponent into thinking, is he a minion? Is he a plant? Is he a ward? And either continuously questioning themselves, and you can surprise them as the ult really reveals itself at the last moment. Have that big AoE stun and flip the game around. So again, as I mentioned previously, if you've watched Legends in action, it's very reassuring that obviously they're aware of their issues. They're working on them. Towards the end of the episode, Nightshare seems to be rather happy with the level of practice that they've had and the level of work ethic that the players are bringing. Even testifying that this is probably one of the best levels of work ethics he's seen ever since his arrival. So he's observing some progress on his side. It's all about translating it to the stage, which is the biggest part of this. But I think that while we're all very disappointed and I would say frustrated as well, this I think is a big part of seeing the same issues of the mid game, that we're working on it. We're very very well aware of it. There we go. And another element is that I'm watching Razork more and more settling in that leader position, where he has this almost angry father persona within the team. And he was always called the captain, but I feel like right now we're seeing the real expression of what it means of being the captain of a team. And now his mindset is, I think, one of the best it's been at any moment within Fnatic. He's focused, he's grinding, he's very clear on what he's trying to achieve with the team and how he wants to achieve it. So I think a lot of positive elements to look forward to. And overall, the team has been, I think, playing a bit better than the end of playoffs, especially June, who's had some impressive games, syncing with Razork and playing the engages rather well. Now, I would like to talk about a player in particular for our focus segment, which is Oscarnins. Oscarnin's first week wasn't too bad. I'm seeing a lot of divided opinions on that, but I will strongly disagree that he had a bad week. Maybe he didn't have the most impressive one, but I think we need to consider each game individually here. We look at the first game. First game, I was a bit, I say, disappointed with the pick. Now, obviously, he's not alone in deciding the pick. It's a team decision. It's a coach decision. It's an overall decision of the people involved. But I'll say this: he goes into Udyr, which really screws over um, Cassante, and he managed not to die. He managed to, stay even and even ahead in terms of CS and play really on that edge as he used to. Of like, oh, you feel he's gonna die, but he's just managing the trade, getting his CS, and backing off. And for me, that was a good sign that we're already seeing the older version of Askarnin, where he was really on that, really the edge play of making sure that he's managing his lane, giving a bit of trade, making think that he might die, but he's just enough in that trade to maybe get a proc of grasp, or hitting that cookie, or just backing off that at the right moment. And on that first game, he manages to play the map rather well, where he stays ahead, he creates pressure, and with the advantage he gains, become the big, meaty, beefy front line for his team, where one of the team fights towards the end of the game, he just face checks the brush, gets jumped on by the entire team of Rogue, doesn't die, and allows the rest of the team to come in and clean up. Another element that he does well is that as he's face checking the brush, they all jump in. He hits the first stack of Q, so he sees them and gives time for his team to come in and clean up. Noah comes in, and Humanoid dashes in with his Talia wall, which was very funny because Noah dashes over the wall in the sort of mid-river brush area to keep the distance, to keep kiting. And you see Humanoid coming in with the Weaver's wall. Sorry. Pushing over Noah back over the wall. That was a very funny interaction. But nonetheless, that was a decent performance overall. Not the flashiest, not the most impressive, but a stable performance. Same thing against Carmine Corp, where he has a difficult lane because taking Aatrox into Renekton, and still manages to stabilize his lane, stay even in CS, even a little bit ahead in the later stages of the game. And most importantly, what he does is that he becomes a crucial part of the team fight. As I mentioned previously, team fight around the Drake for the 4th Drake. He turns around the team fight and manages to prevent a disaster outcome with Humanoid. So, again, not the flashiest game, but brings in the necessary elements to not be a dead weight, which kind of feels where he was at the end of winter, where he was not bringing the necessary elements to the team, and it felt like it was a 4v5, getting 1v1 in lane, falling behind in CS and in gold, not being able to pressure the map correctly. And on the final game against Team Heretics, he plays the other matchup, manages to push in his lane very well, has Razok play for him. They dive Wunder twice, and he manages to get a important lead. Obviously, the outcome wasn't the best, but even when they were behind in some of the team fights, he managed to have access to Smolder when they were defending on the inhibitor in the mid lane, and manages to turn around the team fight for Fnatic. So I want to stay positive about Oscar's return to form, even if it's very slow. He's not there yet, but he's already showing, I think, important signs already in his first 3 games. He's definitely not the same as he was at the end of winter, where he was dying 1v1 and being a liability for the entire team. He's playing his part. He's getting put on the weak side with the bad matchup, but that's what we ask from him. If we put the focus on the bot lane with the current picks that exist, with the Zeris, the Smolders, the Kaisas, the Kallistas. These are champions you want to help in that early game to help them burst in towards the late game. So we'll see what he does, especially this week as we're going into maybe some rougher matchups. Obviously facing G2 on Sunday, and facing what looks to be an overall in-form Vitality and a Photon that's playing really well. He had a very important game on his Rumble where he really 1v9'd the game for his team. So, Broken Blade Photon challenge for Oscar this week. It's the moment for him to prove that what he's showcased in the first 3 games, he's at that level and a bit further. So probably ask him to push a bit more, but to continue bringing that sort of pillar, that stable aspect for Fnatic, a bit like Soaz used to do before. Soaz wasn't necessarily the flashiest laner or the flashiest player overall, but he was a guy you could rely on. That whether you put him on a tank or whatsoever, on the dog champs as he used to call them, he's not gonna cost you the game, and he's gonna come in in those later stages and really be a part of the team. So if we're able to bring that to Oscar and help him push that performance a bit further, then I think we're looking great for the regular part of the split, and then continue to grow on the playoffs, where this is where we expected them to be in winter, and he kind of had a drop off in form. So definitely we'll keep our eyes on him on the next 3 games and on the rest of the regular split. But my message to you guys is, don't look at the games where he was weak side with a negative eye. Look at his overall performance in the game and how he was crucial to the team, and you will understand much more about what Oscar's been doing ever since the winter playoffs. But again, that's just my opinion. I'm really curious what you think about Oscar. Do you agree? Do you also think he's slowly coming back to form, or is he still playing very poorly? Let me know. Again, same place where you're on the app, Reddit, you're on the YouTube. There's always a space for you to leave comments. So I'll be looking forward to it, as I'm a very curious person. But in any case, let's wrap this up with some predictions. We obviously had the same scores as we had the same predictions, and I've just realized right now the mess that I haven't updated you guys' side of the score, but that's fine. We're gonna do that. Excuse me. We're gonna do that together as I review the scores, as I review not the scores but the polls. So let's have a look on this first week. What have you guys decided? What have you guys voted? There we go. So we'll start with week 2, day 1. SK versus BDS. You guys have picked BDS. So we'll go with that. Boom. No, you guys pick SK. Sorry, I don't know what I'm saying today. Interesting game. We'll see if BDS, comes back to form. But SK has definitely been looking good, especially on their last game of the week. Giant X versus Fnatic. That's perfect because we don't have to change anything. You guys also voted Fnatic. Good job. G2 versus Team Heretics. I don't think I need to check this, but you've also voted for G2, so that's another one we don't have to change. Mad Lions versus Vitality, and that's the mistake that I make, is that why did I remove the Vitality logo? But that's fine, I'm going to add it, and you're going to see what I do every week for you guys when I prepare this is that I haven't taken the time to format the logo, so I'm doing it like this, and it looks massive. I have to shrink it, and that way. I understand the Vitality pick. I was questioning it, sorry, as well. I'm just making a bet on the fact that I think Mad Lions is gonna come back to form, because I don't think we're gonna continue seeing them perform so poorly, especially with the type of coach that they have. So we'll see. If Vitality performs well, I mean, this is a bit of a test game to see if Vitality sort of confirms their current form, or if they're back sort of towards the downward spiral. So it'll definitely be an interesting game. I'll be looking forward to that one. Carmine Corp versus Rogue. You guys also voted for Carmine Corp, and that makes a lot of sense. Not just because Carmine Corp looks slightly better, but because Rogue looks like a complete dumpster fire. So just one opinion different than mine, which is the Mad Lions versus Vitality, and this might be the difference maker for the rest of the season. We'll have a look at that. Oh, it seems that this one I've put the race. No, I have not. It just happens to be like that. We'll have a look. Then I have a look at the week 2 D2 results from you guys, starting with BDS versus Giant X. You guys voted for BDS. Perfect. Vitality versus Rogue. You guys went with Vitality, as it should be. Again, because Rogue is a dumpster fire, and I don't see how they are going to improve any of this. Mad Lions versus KC. I've gone with Mad Lions. Have you guys gone with KC? No, you've gone with Mad Lions. Oh, so what do we have here? Do we have Mad Lions lovers, KC haters? Do you know how much does it overlap? I have no idea, but you guys have gone with Mad Lions. I'm still going with the same logic. I'm thinking Mad Lions gonna come back, and they'll have that pride of wanting to win against Mad Lions. Against Carmine Corp, but I think it's also true for Carmine Corp wanting to win against Mad Lions for the pride. We're gonna have some banger atmosphere at the arena, with both fans who are very passionate about their respective works. So definitely one to look out for. I believe it's the game of the week as well, as it should be. Usually it's Fnatic versus G2, but last week we had Fnatic versus Carmine Corp, when there was G2 versus Mad Lions, which was the finals. In my opinion, the G2 versus Mad Lions should have been game of the week, but that was such a stomp that in the end it ended up well that the Carmine Corp versus Fnatic was the game of the week. Team Heretics versus SK. You guys have voted for Team Heretics. Of course, why wouldn't you? Make my life more complicated, but it's fine. We go to the Team Heretics logo. Boom, bada boom. We shrink that bad boy, and there we go. There's nothing special about all of this. As you can see, I just do this, and then I put it in the middle. Boom, sorted. I've gone with SK, but Team Heretics could definitely win that one. Fnatic versus G2. You guys voted for Fnatic. You're better fans than I am, because while I think Fnatic is still going to win this play, I don't think they're at the level of G2 yet. G2 looks very, very scary, and we have some stuff to work on. And I doubt that just 1 week of scrims is enough to solve all of our issues. But we'll get there. But guys, if Fnatic wins, it's all good. You guys get some points. I get to have a happy Sunday before going back to work. So, all is good. If not, well, I would have predicted correctly. I get some points. I get a shitty Sunday, but I get an advantage on you. So, it is what it is. To conclude, BDS versus Team Heretics, guys. What you guys have voted? You voted BDS. I don't understand the logic that you guys apply, but again, you guys are 10, 20 people voting every time, so obviously it's not the same brain. Where is the same brain? Is when you guys decide to vote with Fnatic, and that's something that I appreciate. So guys, continue voting for Fnatic. It'll always be a good choice. As I say that, obviously I voted G2 against Fnatic. What a poor fan I am. I know. G2 versus Giant X, you guys voted for G2. Perfect. Let's solve that straight away. Makes a lot of sense. There we go. Rogue versus Mad Lions. You guys probably voted Mad Lions. Very much so at 91%. 91%. I think there's a Mad Lions fan base amongst the Inside Fanatics Brush Twitter followers. That's an interesting observation. SK versus KC. You guys also voted for SK. Lovely stuff. And that concludes our predictions. Awesome, guys. Good job. Thank you for staying with me during that whole time of fixing up what I forgot to prepare. But on that note, as usual, guys, thank you very much for taking the time to watch. Enjoy the game this weekend. We're having our big banger game of Fnatic versus G2. Until then, you guys take care. And as usual, you know it, I know it, always Fnatic. Bye-bye.